Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And Wednesdays this year, we've had the opportunity to have a lot of Artesia girls basketball players come in and visit with us. And now the head coach, which Houghtaling are you now?
I'm the other one.
You're the other one. Well, there's three of you, so.
Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff, no, I know that. Hey, thanks for having the players come in. We really enjoyed their visits this year, and the season is done. I know you didn't get a chance to get into the state basketball tournament, but all in all, pretty decent season for the Lady Bulldogs this year.
Yeah, I thought so. Considering a lot of circumstances and ups and downs of things that happened early in the season, but thanks for having the girls. I know they all initially don't enjoy coming, but once they get to it and once they do it, they all have good reflection on it, I think.
Good.
I think it's good for them to some of them are natural. They can come and talk to anybody, but some of them need to get out of their shell a little bit, and I think it's been really good for them to do that. So we appreciate you letting them come and get to visit with them a little bit, and I think it helps folks around town that, get to know our girls a little bit. That's one thing I can say about our team. We have such a good group, and year in and year out, we have good girls, but this year we have a really good, fine young ladies who smart, good athletes, good students, good kids. They're in a lot of activities. I tell our coaches, in fact, I told my coaching staff yesterday, we got the smartest, best kids in the school. Of course, I'm probably biased, but
yeah.
As I walk up and down the hallways every day, I see some kids that we would like to have out to basketball, no doubt, but at the same time, we got the good ones. And so I'm really proud of that. And we didn't make it to the state tournament this year, but I thought we played well and had a good season, and I was very proud of the way it turned out.
Pretty tough district, too. Portales, very good team this year, and Goddard is a decent team this year, so it's always difficult just to get through district.
It is, and that's one thing to be proud of, too, is the district we get to play in, and it's not just in girls basketball, year in and year out, it's every sport. I get to visit with a lot of the coaches around the school each day, and I know they feel the same way. I think potentially some years our district could be the top 3 or 4 seeds in the state in some of the sports, and so it is a good competitive district, and I think we would prefer it that way. I mean, I look around the state, and a couple of teams got in the tournament that, we beat everybody in the district except one team. So I'm kind of glad we don't play in a district that way that's, year in and year out not very tough. I mean, that's good for your record, and it's nice to win a bunch of games, but at the same time, it's more than just winning games. It's learning how to be disciplined and be tough and, having good attitude and getting after it and being tenacious and gritty and all those things. And I like to think our district provides that for us in all the sports. We have such a good competitive district.
And then most of the girls on the team are going to go on to some spring sports. Some are going to play softball. Some are going to be on the track and field team. And so you've got a lot of 2- and 3-sport athletes that are on this team. Yeah,
we really do. And that's another one of the good things about Artesia sports. In fact, this morning we had a coaches breakfast. All the coaches in the district got together at the Bulldog Training Center and went over some stuff like that. We have 4 of those every year, every quarter. We have a coaches breakfast. Coach Henderson does a fine job with that, the AD, and bringing us together and talking about things like that and things how we can get better. But man, it's just a really high percentage of the kids in Artesia High School. We're well above the state average in terms of kids who participate in athletics and activities for that matter. And girls basketball is no different. All the girls are leaving basketball to go to a spring sport. Just a couple to softball, most of them to track, but we have a really good group, and most of them came to basketball from their soccer or volleyball. Just 2 or 3 of them had been in off season, so a lot of benefits to that. Kids participating at a high level all season, learning how to compete year in across the course of the year, and there's a lot of positives for off season too. But I think we would prefer kids to be competing, whether it be in the fall or in the spring or whatever it is. But learning how to compete is probably the best thing we give kids in athletics, because you know as well as I do, when they get out of school, they got to go to work, man. They got to go to competing. So it's not all about winning ball games. We like to do that, no doubt, and that's the plan. But learning how to compete and be tough and all that kind of stuff is good for them.
How did the JV team do this year, and then your 8th grade? I guess it's 8th grade and those programs. How are those looking?
It's good. We had a great year. Our JV season was up and down, and generally it is. Some years it's better than others, but this year we just had such small numbers at the high school. We only ended up having 21 girls on the whole program from 10th grade up, and that's really unusual for us. We're pretty solid around 30 to 35 kids. So as a byproduct of that, a lot of kids had to play varsity and JV. The rule for basketball is they get 5 quarters a night, and so if there's 2 games, you can kind of split a lot of them. And we had to do that a lot. And so, but on the flip side of that, it was a great experience. A lot of our varsity kids are pretty young, so they got to get a lot of good JV experience on top of their varsity experience. And, I think that's going to help us down the road. As far as the junior high programs, really good. We're really lucky to have such good junior high coaches down there. I've always heard and been to a lot of coaches' clinics that say, your best coaches in your program need to be your freshman coaches because they set the table for your high school teams, your varsity teams. And for us in girls basketball, man, we have good quality coaches down there. I'll brag on them. Mark Williams is our freshman coach, and Haley Riggs. And, I'm fortunate to have both of those folks. Haley actually played for me. She graduated from Artesia, so she's a Bulldog, and she knows what it takes to be a good Bulldog coach. And, of course, Mark comes to us from Texas, but man, played college basketball, coached a lot of other places. He probably has forgotten more basketball than I know. That's the kind of coach Mark is. He's just such a good guy and a good Christian man. Has a good influence on our girls, and really does a fine job with them. And they made it into the Border Conference tournament, and I think they lost in the semifinals to a really good Hobbs team who won the district or the Border Conference. But and then our 8th grade,
I think, played for the title. So.
Yeah, maybe it was the championship game. Yeah. So our 8th grade group, same. Played for the Border Conference championship.
That was the one that played for the.
And really good team too. We have a lot of potential there with those girls. And our head girls coach in the 8th grade is Casey Crandall, and Casey came to us from Hagerman, but he was the varsity coach of the girls in Hagerman. So I just can't imagine many high school coaches get a former varsity coach to coach for them on their junior high staff. He's so good, and he probably the best thing that Casey does, he brings the element of toughness to our kids, and man, he really gets them playing hard and competing. And Chris Johnson is our 8th grade white team coach, and Chris is fantastic, and he probably has the most success of any of the programs in the whole, from top to bottom. I think our 8th grade white team over the last 4 or 5 years, probably like maybe 75-2. They just win and win and win, and he does a really good job with the kids, and they're so competitive. So, and even down at Zia, we had a good year. Our Zia coaches do a fine job, and I think probably one of the things as Artesia coaches we get to do that a lot of places don't, because I've talked to a lot of coaches around the state and in other places, our lower levels, we have a great progression. There's a step 1 at the Zia level, and there's a step 2 at the 8th grade, and a step 3 at the 9th grade, and then at the high school we have the whole package. But as a byproduct of that, we're fortunate that when the kids get to us at the high school, it's more polishing than anything. We don't have to do a lot of reteaching because they're teaching the fundamentals at the lower levels and our offenses and our defenses. So by the time that they get to us, they hear the same words, they understand the concepts, and some years we have fantastic success, some years we don't, but either way, the kids know what we're doing, and they try hard, and they're dedicated. So great program, and I know that's across the board. Football does it that way, of course, boys basketball, and does it the same. So very lucky that way.
Yeah. What were some of the biggest improvements that you saw from your team this year?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of areas of improvements. If folks watched us play from late November to just here at the end of February, it was pretty obvious to see that confidence probably was the biggest thing. You know, we came into the season and day one of the season, pretty much day one was picture day. You know, that's one of those days that most coaches hate. I'm no different. It's kind of a circus. But we had 10 seniors on the squad, and we had about 35 kids. And I thought, that's normal. You know, it's about where we need to be. And first day of practice came about a week after that, and we were down to 4 seniors. So
wow.
A lot of kids chose not to play right at the last minute. You know, there was no hard feelings or anything. And I understand, and they all came to me, and it wasn't like they didn't communicate and let me know what they were thinking. And a lot of them chose to go ahead and go to their spring sport and get an advantage there, which I was certainly happy to let them do that. But the dynamic of our team changed a lot. So we went from being a pretty experienced team to not being very experienced at all. So, and confidence has a lot to do with that. And so early on in the season, we didn't have a lot of confidence. And, you know, that was pretty evident, and we didn't win a lot of games early. But as the season progressed, we got into the middle of the season, we started hitting our stride, and I think there was a point where we won, 7 out of 9 games. You know, we came along and started doing the things we needed to do, and became pretty competitive. And so, you know, that set us up for a very competitive district season. And, of course, we didn't make it as far as we wanted to, but confidence probably was the biggest area of improvement. And, you know, the fundamental skills came along, too. I had something interesting happen this season that I've never had happen in a season before. We had 3 different girls score over 30 points in a game. I've never had kids that could score like that. So that was very encouraging. Of course, one of them was a senior. We won't get her back. But the other 2, one of them was a sophomore and one of them was a junior. So it's pretty rare in a established program like we have here that you get the bulk of your scoring back. It's generally seniors, and that's the natural progression of a good program. You know, your best kids are your seniors. But, again, we had a different dynamic this year with that. And so to have that kind of scoring potential on the offensive end coming back, man, that's pretty exciting. We're coaching staff, we've been talking about that for the last couple of days, and going to be interesting to see how that unfolds, you know, for us in the future.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, what's the young lady's name in Portales? Maybe she finally graduates.
Yeah. Right.
There'll be some changes in all that. Now, I know football district changes just a little bit. Alamogordo moves up and Mayfield takes their spot. But as far as all the other sports like girls basketball, district makeup is going to be the same for the next couple of years as it has been?
It is. We're not having any changes, and you know, I don't do a good a job as I should keeping up with all that every 2 years and looking forward to that. We just try to focus on the schedule and who's on there. But next year we're staying the same, and you touched on it, but the district was pretty senior loaded outside of us and Lovington. You got both Goddard and Portales. Of course, they got first and second in the district and both made it into the state tournament. Had a lot of good quality seniors, and those kids have been playing since they were freshmen. So a lot of familiar names there, if folks keep up with basketball around here, and it's not breaking my heart that they're graduating. So great kids, you know, and I know their coaches, and they speak so highly of their kids. Their kids are just like ours, you know. They're smart, they're disciplined, they're hard workers, and come from good families. And so it'll be good for us that they graduate. Be tough for those programs, but again, the district year in and year out doesn't matter. If you have a lot of experience or not, we have a lot of good teams. And so I wouldn't say that Portales and Goddard are rebuilding. I'd say they're reloading. You know, I just think that we're going to reload a little stronger than they are next year. And the same goes with Lovington. You know, they really improved. You know, we beat them 3 times, but the third time we played them, they got after us a little bit. I think we ended up beating them by 18 maybe, but, you know, the first 2 times we played them, I think the first time we beat them by 50, and then we beat them by 30, and then we only beat them by 18. So they're going to be tough next year, too. You know, Coach Scott does a good job with his kids. They were very young. They had 2 8th graders and a couple of freshmen. So year in and year out, our district's pretty good.
Yeah, it sure is. I know you've seen the bracket because you were looking to see if Artesia was going to be there, but Goddard got in as a 10, and they go to Moriarty on Friday night. And Portales got in as a number 4, and they will host Los Alamos. Kirtland Central got the number 1, Gallup the number 2. Any surprises there? Is that kind of what you had expected that it would turn out?
Yeah, it is. I I put those guys at the top up there. I know they're extremely competitive. I'll just give folks an idea. Kirtland beat Gallup in the district there, and I was kind of surprised. I really thought Gallup would win the district, but Kirtland got them. But Gallup beat Hobbs, so that give people an idea how good they are. Yeah, Kirtland and Gallup are very good. But on the flip side of that, Portales beat Kirtland, so in early in the season. So the top half of the bracket, there's a lot of parity there. It's very competitive. I think if I had to predict, I'd say Gallup would probably win the whole thing. But tough field. Taos and Bernalillo are pretty solid this year, and I was kind of surprised Goddard didn't go a little higher. I thought they might have went a little higher, but I think they got to play Moriarty.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And unfortunately, they've already played Moriarty twice this year, and so. But we've been down that road before. One year we had to play Roswell 5 times, twice in the playoffs. So,
well, look at the boys. They're playing
Lovington again. So
TJ covered the game last Friday, and he says after the game, he says, what's going to happen. He says we're going to be 8-9, and we're going to be back here next weekend. And I said, well, I hope you're not right. And
he was right.
He was right.
The way they do it now, I mean, the numbers don't lie. If you sit down, if you have the time and the dedication to hash out all those numbers, you can't. I mean, it's anybody could do it. The seating and selection is not what it used to be. They used to send a representative from the district, and they met behind closed doors, and who knows what went on in there, and then they came out with a bracket. But now I think it's solely based on numbers, and you really can't argue with it. I mean, there's a little bit of leverage in the Max Preps thing, but it is what it is. So
I don't think the Max Preps has quite as many factors that they consider as what the NMAA criteria is.
No, there's not. But I mean, the formula Max Preps uses for their ranking is a little different. But yeah, NMAA just uses Max Preps rankings and that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Well, and coaches, I think, have a little bit of input on.
We do. Coaches poll was one criteria in there, but. I mean, coaches are generally pretty honest and straightforward when it comes to that. I know sometimes there's a little gamesmanship. Some coaches might get together and say, hey, let's do this, but we generally don't try to do that. I mean, you know how teams are, and one good thing about us, we get to play around the state quite a bit, so we get a pretty good look. We saw some of those northern teams play, and I watched a lot of games. So I watched Gallup beat Hobbs. Gallup's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
you looking at any major changes in how you lay out the schedule for next year, or are you kind of happy with the tournaments and the trips that you took this year?
Yeah, we're making one change. The boys got into the Hope Christian tournament this year, and while Coach Vondragon was there, they extended an invitation for the girls to come as well, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna try to go to Hope Christian next year. So, in order to do that, we had to drop 3 games to pick up 3 games, and so we trimmed off the schedule a little bit. I say that, I guess the schedule's not in cement yet, but
right.
There was 3 teams that we decided probably not to try to play again next year, and instead go to that Hope tournament. So. It's going to be good for us. We haven't went to a northern tournament. It's been a couple of years. We usually try to go north, Los Lunas or Aztec.
You've been in an Aztec tournament in the past,
and we haven't done that the last couple of years. Of course, the COVID restrictions hasn't allowed us for overnight stay much, but that's gone away. Yep. So next year we're going to go to Hope Christian, and that was a good tournament this year. Of course, Hope's in the tournament. Taos is in the tournament. I think... one other team was in that tournament. So we'll get a good look, at potential teams, state tournament caliber teams, and we're going to be better next year. So it'll be a good tournament for us to kind of be a barometer of where we are in the state.
Sure. You coaching anything in the spring, or you done on the coaching side for this year?
No, I'm a track coach. I have been for the duration of my coaching experience, and initially, I was not a big fan of track, but that was a long time ago. It's really grown on me. I really love it. And I coach the javelin.
Okay.
And probably one of the best things about it is I get to – a lot of the basketball kids come over and do javelin. So I get to stay in touch with a lot of the girls, and I get to coach the boys too. And we've been very competitive in the javelin. We've had more success coaching the javelin than we have had in basketball in terms of state championships. I've been able to coach, I think, 4 state champs now in the jav. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, we just have some good throwers. The kids are naturally good athletes, and we talk about that a lot even in basketball. But been a lot of fun, and got a track meet tomorrow. So I'm not I'm not going to make it to the first one, but the kids are already at it, and 2 of the basketball girls went to track practice yesterday and qualified for the track meet tomorrow. So,
yeah,
man, our kids just don't miss a beat. They pick up and go, and I'm excited about that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add or mention?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, I want to say good luck to our boys. I know that's playing Levington is kind of a wish could have got a different spot, but even so, want to wish them good luck. Coach Mondragon does a good job with them, and the boys always support the girls, and we want to wish them the best, and I hope they continue on with their success. Our booster club, I got to say thanks to our booster club. Candace Greathouse was the girls' booster club president this year, and just fantastic job. Her heart was in it, and she wanted the girls first in everything that we did, and she did such a good job with that. And of course, her daughter Kaylin was our one of our guards and wings, and she's graduating, so we'll miss them. And then, of course, you guys, want to thank you for all the support. Pretty unique that all our games are on the internet, and I know a lot of places probably think, well, we don't want our games out there. People can see us play, but that's the point. We want people to see us play, People are going to scout you one way or the other, and I just know that I've talked to a lot of people, and they're so impressed and are so happy that they get to see us play, And so even when we go to places like Santa Teresa or wherever it is, you guys are always following us, and we sure appreciate that. It makes our place pretty special. And, our administrators are the same. We want to thank those guys and for our facilities and things like that. So another pretty good year of girls basketball. Looking forward to next year. I think next year will be even better.
Very good. Coach Jeff Houghtaling with us on the Good Morning Artesia show. Thank you for coming in and having the players come in, and we'll see what happens with track now.
Yeah, excited.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Let's take